hours from now. It's becoming a real race against time. The deadline to raise the limit on America's credit card before the government starts to default, now less than 3 weeks away. This as Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell launches a long-shot proposal. It would give the president sweeping new powers to muscle through the debt ceiling increase if Congress cannot muster a veto-proof majority to deny him. Joining us now, Peter Welch, a Democrat from Vermont, and the Chief Deputy Whip, David Schweikert, a Republican from Arizona, on the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman Schweikert, let's begin with you. As I understand it, this plan, and it gets a little bit in the weeds, tough for those of us who aren't in the Senate to understand, but as I understand it, this plan from Senator McConnell would allow the president to raise the debt limit essentially on his. Republicans would be able to walk away from it and say, he did this, we didn't vote for it. Is that the way it would work?
That's almost my impression. And look, I appreciate the minority leader in the Senate throwing out a proposal, but I'm actually not particularly thrilled with it. I actually came here to do tough things and make tough votes, and I have no interest in walking away from that responsibility.
Congressman Welch, do you agree with the way that I characterized the senator's plan?
Well, I do. I mean, my question to Senator McConnell is this: where's the backbone? I mean, it's our job as legislators, as David said, to make these tough decisions and to let folks decide yes or no that they support what we did or they want to replace us. This is an astonishing proposal by a person who has constitutional responsibility and is the leader of a legislative body to basically throw up his hands and say, hey, we'll turn the keys over to the president and we'll deny any responsibility. So this is a backbone-free proposal.
Well, it seems to give both sides what they want, Congressman Schweikert. The president has said we've got to raise the debt ceiling, and yet Republicans have said we've got to do it without raising taxes, right?
Yeah, but in an amusing way, if both sides are getting what they want, it's probably a bad proposal. Look, we have some very tough things we have to deal with. But it's reality. It's called math. You know, when you look at the baby boom population coming into retirement and the scale of this debt, this is a great opportunity. Let's do what's necessary. I also want to make one quick correction. The word default means we don't pay the interest on our coupons or we don't refinance our bonds. In many ways, the problem is actually much more interesting. What do you do with the 1/3 of government that no longer can be financed through borrowing?
Well, what would your proposal be, Congressman Welch?
Well, I mean, there's two things here. Number one, we do have to pay our bills. And whatever it takes for us to pay our bills and maintain full faith and credit, I'm totally committed to doing it. Second, we've got a long-term plan to get fiscal balance restored. In my view, we need a balance of revenue and a balance of cuts. Democrats have to acknowledge the cut part. I think, my view, Republicans have to acknowledge the revenue part. What I've seen with Senator McConnell is kind of disturbing and not quite on the level. Number one, they proposed a grand deal and then walked away from it. The president said, hey, let's do $4 trillion. Second, the Ryan budget increases the debt from $14.3 trillion to $23 trillion. So if you voted for that budget and then you vote against the debt ceiling, you voted for a budget that requires the debt ceiling to go up. And then third, there's this abdication in Senator McConnell's latest plan that I think is, this is where David and I think we really agree. The American people have a low opinion of Congress and it's going down. And we don't elevate that by dodging tough decisions. We engage it by making the hard decisions.
All right, so what happens, Congressman Schweikert? I mean, you in the House are subject to the votes every 2 years. What happens if you make the tough decisions that you're both saying you want to make and you get voted out of office?
That's called life. You know, at some point, the joy of standing up in front of an audience and telling them the truth, because the reality, Washington, D.C., year after year after year, has not told the American people the truth of the scale of the problem. Look, I've only been here 6 months. There's a lot of very good, very smart people here, but it is a political place that cares about their re-election. Maybe this is the year we care less about our re-elections and care more about telling the truth of how the scale of this problem has to be dealt with.
You know, David and I both have won elections and we've both lost elections. And in either way, life goes on. The bottom line is if you have a chance to serve, then you want to help solve problems. In my view, this is a solvable problem. If we want to get from here there. We have to focus on, well, math, you said. There's concrete decisions, balance of revenues, balance of cuts. It's not an ideological battle to be won. It's a practical problem to be solved, and that requires that we work together.
Well, you can't get much farther apart than Arizona and Vermont. Congressman Schweikert, Congressman Welch, a Republican and a Democrat. Interesting discussion. Thanks for sharing it with us today.
Anytime.
Thank you.
And we're going to have more on that breaking news out of India, a terrorist attack deadly. We'll have more right after the break. Also, Casey Anthony is just days away from freedom. Already plenty of books are in the works, and one of them takes us in